we answer some of your questions pertaining problems you are having with getting engaged in the DAO. And then also we share best practices, some of the things that have made our DAOing life easier. Hoping that it will help you on your journey. And then the LFG is where we all go back to the Discord and go be DAO punks, like Ernest. Okay, so once again, this is an official welcome. Welcome to Bankless DAO, and we are very happy to have you here. I'm going to start off with Bankless DAO itself. And as most of us already know, Bankless DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization that's towards movement, and the movement is basically trying to progress the world towards a future of greater freedom by onboarding folks to decentralize financial systems and infrastructure, because we believe that decentralization of money and internet and other key part of humanity gives us greater freedom from centralized entities and rogue governments. So that is all about Bankless DAO's movement. The community operates on certain values, principles. We hold it very dear to our hearts. The first one is education. So education is a core part of what we do. Integrity. We operate in a very honest, open, and transparent manner. All of our treasuries are on-chain. The decisions we make are very open to all of our members. Everyone is free to, to suggest improvements to help with decision making. And that brings me to my third value, which is decentralized governance. One of the most active DAOs when it comes to decentralized governance is actually Bankless DAO. The amount of governance discussion that happens on a weekly basis is mind-boggling. There's governance at various levels of Bankless DAO, from projects to guilds to department to node to the DAO itself. The last value is culture. We are a very, very inclusive community. Bankless DAO is the biggest social/media DAO for a reason, in the sense that it has a very, very open culture, something that Marvel's always say, good vibes only. We are always open, to receive people, consider various perspectives, and see how that benefits the entire collective. My next screen is a very pictorial depiction of the Bankless Nation. So I'm pretty sure you would hear it a lot. Bankless Nation, we all use it. And when we say that, what we refer to is the general crypto landscape, or the Web3 landscape, which encompasses a lot of almost everything that is happening in the crypto space, right? Especially with the innovative aspects and the decentralized aspects. And this is an NFT artwork by Chippy, the Chippy farm, who is Apache, right? Apache. And it depicts a lot of stuff. But one of the key things I would like us to look at is the Bankless DAO. If you look at top left, you would see Bankless DAO here. And anchored to Bankless DAO is Bankless HQ. And why is Bankless DAO anchored to Bankless HQ? Well, that is where our origin, that is our origin, right? That is where Bankless DAO came from. The two founding fathers, Ryan, David, and Sean, from their infamous podcasts came Bankless DAO, or the Bankless movement, and it has become a global phenomenon. And so, yes, we always pay homage to them. For now, they have become like a node within the bigger Bankless ecosystem. So they are one entity among a lot of entities driving the movement, the Bankless movement. So that is, you can actually get access to this artwork. It's very interesting. There are a lot of things in there, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all of that. The next slide is briefly on the organizational unit of Bankless DAO. And I always say that if you want to really, really get engaged in Bankless DAO, you need to understand how the community is organized. So the community is broken down into out 4 major units. We have guilds, departments, projects, and grants committee, right? So if you know these organizational units, you can now plan to get involved in one or more. So guilds are like the talent hubs within the community. They are also an interest, a gathering of interest and skills. So depending on your interest and your skills, if you like writing, you might want to join the Writers Guild. If you're a developer, if you are an educator, if you're a marketer, so that's what guilds are. And I think they are a very good way of starting your journey because there is a place for you, right? There's a place for you to start based on your interests. And then you can gradually grow from there. There are also departments which are critical infrastructure and operating components of the DAO. They help the DAO run. Typical example is the operations department and the education department, where the new joiner session, of course, happens. We have projects. So projects are basically initiatives that are, driving the movement of Bankless Nation one way or the other. So within projects, we have like nodes. We'll talk about that briefly. So if you are someone who is also very passionate about projects, right? And you want to join a particular project, or even you have like a Bankless focused project, you can actually, there's a possibility you can get funding for that idea and then build it to help the world go bankless. Then there's the grants committee, which is responsible for looking out the community's treasury, dispersing funds, and overseeing budget proposals. So these are the organizational units of the DAO. And the DAO is so huge that it's very difficult to even, get this. And I think that's why the new joiner session is so important. My next slide is the DAO in a snapshot. So we have the holders of the bank token, which is used as our internal, which facilitate our internal economy, right? Helps with coordination. There are over 5,000 holders of wallet holders of the token, making it the most widely held social token. The DAO also built products. One such product that is coming up is actually Governata, which is a governance-focused board that is trying to help better governance. In terms of the projects too, we've had like over 30 projects that have come out of Bankless DAO. Voters, I talked about decentralized governance. We've had cumulatively over 3,000 voters in the DAO launched. The guilds, the places of interest, we have 14 of them. Media nodes, the driving force of the bankless movement, we have over 20 of them. So this is, and all of these things, right, they all come together to achieve one purpose. So that is how huge the community is and how, we are, that one goal is trying to coordinate all of these various initiatives. Okay, so one quick one, DAO governance, very important. If you are in Bankless DAO, governance is a responsibility that you need to take seriously because we are a collective and we make decisions collectively, right? So we need each and everyone within the DAO to be able to share their thoughts, opinions, comment on proposals, or even draft or come up with their own proposals. And this is really, really important because that is how we progress as a DAO. That is how we communicate. That is how we coordinate. And so we always, I think you on a weekly basis, every week you are going to hear about a call to govern, a call to govern. So what that means is that engage in conversations within the Discord, check the forum. Most of the proposals go on on the forum. Very, very important to always keep an eye on the forum. And then make sure that if there is a vote on snapshots, you participate in the decision making by voting if you are holding bank, right? So this is how governance is done within Bankless DAO, and we always encourage people to participate. Within the Discord, we have a channel, a governance channel, where for general DAO governance, most of the discussions happen over there. So check out it's open to everyone actually. So check out the governance channel. There's a work stream that also meets every Mondays at 6 p.m. UTC. If you're interested in general DAO governance, you can also join it too. And I highly recommend you to join it. Beyond that, I would say that every guild project department that you join, they have their own governance processes, right? So try and get familiar with these governance processes and see how best you can also contribute to it or engage in the discourse. And this is really important because it's a permissionless world, like Marvel was saying. It's a permissionless world, which means that we have to do in order to progress. And it's not a one person's work. It's everyone's work. So next one is NFTs. So Bankless DAO we love NFTs. It's part of the community. Some of the most iconic NFTs that personally I know of that have been like really valuable have come out of Bankless DAO. A typical example, to be honest, I'm going to start off with the DAO Punks NFT. I think it's a real value scenario for how NFTs are being applied, right? So the DAO Punks NFT project helps people who are transitioning from the corporate world to the DAO world by giving them grants. And if you heard some of us congratulating Ernest, is because the cohort, the current cohort just closed. He's one of the people who fortunately got the grant. And they hold this I think they have a seasonal basis. So the next cohort will be coming. So if you are here and you are working on a very interesting project, or you are working on a project that are looking to transition full-time into DAO and you need support, you can look into the DAO Punk NFT community, and then when the next cohort opens, you can also apply. So yeah, there's also an NFT. So the NFTs were used to build a treasury, and the treasury is being used to support people who are transitioning into Web3. So that's how. So I really love the value model, and this NFT has its roots in the Bankless DAO community. So yeah, you see the chippies are very customized NFTs, and they are really lovely, and the community is a good vibes community. Check it out. People see your chippy and then they don't need to know your name, right? They can easily identify you with your chippy. That's one of the main value proposition of the chippies NFT. They are so unique and well crafted that they have so much intrinsic value attached to them. The last one is the rights, which is one of the Bankless locations NFT. And what is very interesting about these types of NFT that they have a lot of cryptic messages in there. Some are very funny, like mimetic, and some are also very true. So you would see the bridges here. The bridges here actually signify L1 to L2 bridges. And you will see the phoenix of optimism. You see Arbitrum. So yeah, they are very interesting. I don't want to waste much time on this. Let me move to the next slide. Merch. We don't just talk about culture, we also wear culture. Check out the Ultrasound merch store and the Meta Factory merch store if you're interested in buying Bankless, well-designed Bankless DAO themed merch for various locations, various wears, and various seasons. They even have some for summer, etc. You can also pay in bank on the Polygon network, so almost gasless. So that's merch for you. Next slide is the Bankless Academy, a very interesting and important project. The Bankless Academy basically build courses that helps people in their crypto journey. to become, bankless. So they have a lot of courses over there. Some are very, very foundational, and some are also very, very knowledge, knowledge based. So the foundational ones, I always recommend the Web3 security and the wallet basics for all of the people who are starting their new journey, because it's very, very important when it comes, security is really important when it comes to the Web3 space. The next slide is the International Media Notes and Bankless Africa. And these are projects that are trying to push the mission and the vision of Bankless DAO to every corner of the world. And the reason why Bankless DAO gets a lot of recognition for being like a very truly global DAO is as a result of some of these nodes or some of these projects, right? So currently, like Bankless Africa currently is like the biggest media community in Africa. They have media outlets that are doing so much in terms of education and onboarding everyday Africans to crypto. And the impact is really, really awesome. And, they're able to present the message, the education in languages that, everyday Africans, understand. The same thing applies to the International Media Notes, where there are various languages and content, education, etc., from the bankless ecosystem and the general crypto ecosystem is translated into those local languages for the people to be able to understand, right? Why is this important? Well, less than 5% of the world actually speaks English. Unfortunately, major part of crypto education and information has been in English. So what that means is that it's reaching like barely like 5% of the world. What about the other 95% of the world? I think that is what makes like projects like the International Media Notes, the Bankless Africa, and then the node concepts within Bankless that are really, really foundational and important to the Bankless movement. So if you are here and you speak any local language within the world, feel free to join any of the nodes. If you're in Africa, check out Bankless Africa. If your language is not on the node and you think it's really important, and you are passionate about starting your own node, you can do that. Go to the International Media Node. They have steps in how you can start your own node. So assuming you want to get access to the Bankless token, or you have access to the Bankless token, you want to put it to use, you can check. We have a pool on Uniswap Balancer. You can buy the token there. You can provide liquidity there. And so, like I indicated, the hype session is just to give you like a very general overview of Bankless DAO, and it is a way of piquing your interests, right, to facilitate your journey and help you explore more. So that is all from me today. I hope this has sparked some level of curiosity in you, and that Ernest would come and share some practical examples of getting involved within the DAO via the Discord. Was good, Ernest. Say DAO punk.
Yeah, how's it going, everybody? Man, that's good. I gotta pause a minute and let all that sink in. Thanks so much for, man. And every time I see the slides of the Chippy landscapes, I see the new things every time. Let me does anybody have any questions at this point while I set up my screen share? All right. Let's go. Do do do. Okay, can everybody see full screen? Hear me okay?
Good to go.
Thank you, thank you. All right, so this is part two of DAO, Bankless DAO organizational basics. As Think Decade said, it's really helpful to understand when you're trying to imagine, a kind of mental model for the DAO. Instead of starting with, like a circle that's the DAO, it's best to think of a nest with a bunch of different organizational units in it. And Some of these organizational units are component teams, some of them are operational teams, and some of these are, completely new teams. Some of the basic patterns in Bankless DAO that affects the organizational units. Essentially, seasons are probably that largest cycle. Every cycle, guilds, projects, and DAO members review our priorities, and we adapt our plans for the future operations and initiatives, whether you're a guild, a department, or a project. We currently have a BDIP proposal, and I believe the snapshot closed. So when this season ends on May 14th, and season 8 begins for on May 15th, we will actually start transitioning to 4-month cycles. And then when we start next year on January 1st, we will start season 10, 11 and 12, and it'll line up essentially with every 4 months instead of, starting or ending in the middle of a month. And we usually have gap weeks in either at the end of a cycle. Christmas in December always throws in some weeks in the middle of our seasons that end up being gap weeks. And these are kind of weeks where nothing is mandatory. A lot of people are still working, they're doing it at their own pace, but no meetings are mandatory. And it's just a good way to take a breath. Originally, we started out with 2 seasons on season 0, and then again we transitioned to in season 1 or 2, transitioned to 3 weeks per season, and in season 4 is when we actually started the gap weeks. We also have membership levels in the DAO. So every organizational, there's anybody that is a token holder is essentially a potential or a member of the DAO. However, as far as the Discord is concerned, where we do a lot of our work and connect socially, access to the membership levels in Discord are essentially our guest pass level, L1 level, L2, and L3. Currently, a guest pass, there's no bank required, so you don't even have to be a token holder. And you renew your guest passes bi-weekly, and your guest pass is associated with certain Discord permissions. All of our governance and social channels and work channels are open to guest passers. There's just a handful of, I guess there's a handful of social channels that aren't available to guest passers, but all of the governance, all of the work channels are completely open. It's one of the few DAOs that are, like, I feel that open. However, if you're a token holder and you have at least 35,000 bank, you get the L1 or level 1 Discord permission. This is validated through the collab.land bot in our Discord. And there are also DeFi positions that we can recognize so that you can have your 35,000 bank, your membership in a liquidity pool, getting some type of yield, and still vote with that bank. L1s do not have to renew their guest pass as long as you have 35,000 bank in a wallet and it's validated. You have, permissions to access the Discord, and it's a permanent position essentially. If you are active and trusted in the Discord, the community, other L1s can nominate you to the L2 position, And this just gives you elevated Discord permissions that allow you to help manage roles and help folks with Discord. If you have 150,000 tokens, you get validated as an L3. L3s actually have less Discord permissions than L2s, so it's not a position that grants you any more power or ability in the DAO. However, you do get access to one social channel, merely just a social channel with other folks that are L3s. And of course, you need to be at least an L1 to be at L3. So those are our membership levels. There's going to be lots of discussion this season and next season about shifting to membership passes that give you essentially Discord permissions. But that's just part of us adopting, more Web3 tools as a DAO. Our Discord is confusing. If you're not familiar with Discord at all, it's probably and most certainly is a little overwhelming. However, you can mostly think of the social channels at the top of the Discord, the work channels at the bottom of the Discord, and depending on your role in Discord, you will be able to see certain types of work channels. So the main channel that you want to, one of the main channels that you want to be aware of, it's right underneath the community calls, is this general Discord category. At the top of it is role select. And here in role select is where you can opt in to getting information from a guild, a department, or a project. Basically, when you click on the emoji, you get a role associated with the Discord category that's associated with the organizational unit. And then you can participate in their voice channels, and you can participate in their Discord channel conversations and voting and whatnot. One of the first habits that are good to get into are the Bankless DAO community calls. These take place every Friday at 3 p.m. UTC in the Amphitheater voice channel towards the top of the Discord. This is recorded posted to YouTube and Twitch as well, so that you can catch up on community calls if you can't make them live. The Discord channel that's your best friend in the beginning is the calendar channel. And, I just recommend to folks, all these events are open to people. The majority of them have space for new member introductions. Some of them are work meetings, and, not all of them are like sync and update and intro meetings. So just try to be mindful. But all of them are open, and the best place to start is just wherever you have extra time. And if any word in the title of an event sounds interesting, join it. And if you have any questions about where events are actually located, you can ask in the Get Involved channel or the No Stupid Questions channel, and someone will help you out. It's not always easy to tell where the events are, but we have talent coordinators in the DAO as a pattern of just about every organizational unit in the DAO. And so there are people looking for you to ask questions, looking for you to get engaged, that can kind of help steer whatever kind of raft you land on when you first get in our Discord. little bit about the bank token. I like to say, one of the things that makes me a Bankless DAO member is that I will work for bank. You know, uh, we are a social DAO, we are a media DAO, and we're most definitely a worker cooperative. Um, whether you're doing it for fun, a retirement plan, or uh, you know, to make to meet the ends of your day-to-day life. Um, the Bankless brand is something that you or your project or a project you're involved with can leverage. You can get tips in the Discord, you can get bounties. We have different incentive um, games in the DAO for to incentivize ad hoc work and lots of other types of contributions. We have DWorks to help folks and projects and bounty boards to manage tasks and do payouts for work and design revenue share agreements. Um, and of course, as you know, we will work for bank, but we'll also get involved with DeFi. And so currently the Arrakis um, DeFi pool that utilizes Uniswap v3 provides around a 7% yield. This has been going on for a few months now, and it's not a farm, but it is actually a yield derived from uh, the way that you can manage positions and automate the management of positions on Uniswap v3. Next slide. There we go. So, organizational units, seasons, memberships, everybody will work for bank. Bankless DAO has a brand. Notion is our document repository and wiki for all things in the DAO. But across the DAO, you'll find at least 30 different, Web3 tools that we use, depending on, I guess, your level of engagement or area of engagement within the DAO. Some common tools is that we use guild.xyz for POAPs, gated memberships. We use the Seshbot for calendar events and polls, as well as the Governator bot for polls. Governator bot allows us to do token-weighted polls. We also have a Bankless DAO bounty board that projects and other organizations can use. And there are at least 14 DWorks that 14 different projects that use DWork in Bankless DAO. Collab.landbot is used for verification, member management, and as well as tipping. Coordinape you'll find in organizational units to kind of like incentivize ad hoc work or planned work that is not quite known but budgeted for. We also have Sobol for organizational mapping and interesting treasury integrations, as well as Snapshot which is our main voting platform. Forums, we use Discourse, as a lot of forums do. It's a part-time job reading and keeping up on the forums, but it is one of the main places where we exercise governance, and it's the one place for more long-form discussion on things in the DAO as a whole. And we've recently adopted Thrivecoin for building community rewards. Where can you learn about these tools? You can learn about the basics of all these tools in the how-to and knowledge sessions that we run here in the education department. On our Notion department Notion page, we used to be a guild, you can find we call it a live session calendar, and essentially every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 2 p.m. UTC, we do a session very similar to this new joiner session, except it's focused on a particular application, or kind of like a how to use a specific tool that we have here in the DAO. They are introductory sessions. We do these we're starting to do these in a metaverse called ZEP in collaboration with ED3 DAO, which is an education DAO, or a DAO for educators. It is basically Zoom plus a metaverse, so it's going to be interesting as we broaden up these sessions to folks outside the Bankless DAO Discord. But we invite you to these how-to sessions to get involved. And if you have the skills to lead a how-to session and testnet activities around that how-to session, you can also get involved with the education department. We post all our learning opportunities in the Learning Opportunities channel at the top of the Discord, where you can also find the Get Involved and New Joiner Sessions channel. If you ever get lost and you need assistance, just stop in those channels, or listen in on those channels to expand your skills. Social media. We do lots of social media. We do lots of Web 2 social media. We're on all the main platforms. Telegram is probably the least amount of commercials. It's basically an announcements channel, so it's just a feed of the majority of Bankless DAO content. But you're also starting to see folks get into Web3 social media, especially with turning some of their podcasts into NFTs. Crypto Sapiens podcasts. Bankless Africa, of course, is breaking ground all the time with their podcasts. We also promote book clubs. And of course, there's the Making Bank podcast as well. If you like podcasting, if you like media, you can get involved with these podcasts. You can contribute. They're pretty cool. I totally recommend them. And I think that's, one of the reasons why we're here is because we also, create media all over the world. So if you are here because you like media, or you just like consuming and sharing media and, being a fan, these are great podcasts to get involved with. Newsletters. We have lots of different publications. I believe now essentially it's called Bankless Publishing, where you will find the Substacks to all of the different articles that Bankless DAO produces. We support authors on Medium, as well as run Mirror and Medium for the DAO as well. We have Decentralized Arts for NFT folks. The weekly roll-up is probably the best first newsletter to start with. If you already don't know what you're looking for, it does a really good job of reviewing what was in the community call, as well as reviewing some of the stuff in the forums and kind of condensing it into a weekly roll-up. So that's definitely the best, publication. And every now and then there's a YouTube video that is kind of like a podcast version of the roll-up. lots of content for folks, and again, in different languages other than just English. And with that, welcome to Bankless DAO. I hope you enjoy the adventure. Bam.